Discovered in 1981, the London Marathon is now one of the most desired races on the planet. One of the 6 races within the World Marathon Major, and rumoured soon to be 7.
One night in Cape Town.
Elite course records are set by Eliud Kipchoge and Paula Radcliffe.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Last October, I ran the Paris Marathon in sub 2 hours 40 minutes, which granted me qualification into the championship entry for the 2022 TCS London Marathon. And I'm making this video to show you how I plan to run sub 2:35, mate. This is part 1. I'm just going to explain briefly what my priorities are, what it is I'm looking to get out of this race. If you're new to the channel, I'm what you call a hybrid athlete. Sounds a little bit pretentious. Basically what that means, it can mean a few things, but essentially you are competing in 2 disciplines at the same time. So for me, I was trying to powerlift and be a long distance runner. I did a half marathon last time, 1 hour 17 minutes, and I powerlifted 420 kilos between bench, squat and deadlift within around 6 hours of each other. In this one, I'm going to be prioritising running because in my last half marathon I felt a little bit heavy. As much as I want to get stronger in that, for this one, I'm aware that for me to get stronger in doing those things, I'm probably going to have to hinder running a little bit, because the more muscle mass you have, the more oxygen your body requires, which basically means you're going to run a little bit slower. I'm looking to drop my weight from around 70 kilos to around 67 kilos, but try and maintain as much strength as I can. With that said, I'm going to go into the training plan and explain exactly how you can compose a training plan, and I'm going to explain how you can best avoid getting injured by having a controlled increase in your weekly mileage. Sub 2:35 marathon training plan, I'll put a link so you can download it. I'm not going to show you just my taper weeks yet, so this is basically the training in the build up to my peak week. So essentially I have a peak week, which is my most intense week of training. The most mileage that I do in one whole week will be done 3 weeks before the actual race start line. So the reason why I do it 3 weeks before, just basically you imagine you're training up, so if you like in this period you're actually getting better as a runner or an athlete in general. So I'm building up, and then 3 weeks away from the race I taper off, so basically the intensity will slowly come back down until a race, just so that my body is able to perform to the best of my abilities, the best of my capabilities. That way my body will be fresh again, so I can perform to the best of my ability. So with that said, the way I compose a training plan is you work out the maximum mileage that you're willing to do. If you're unsure of the maximum mileage you're willing to do, this is kind of what you put in is what you get out type thing. So you have to work out what type of cost you're willing to pay, if you like. What I mean by cost, you imagine someone has a big house and a supercar, for example. Everyone would pretty much want to be that guy, or 99% of humans would want to be that person. So there's a cost that comes with that, right? You've got to put a lot of time and effort into learning about how to generate money, and a lot of time and effort into potentially making sacrifices in order so you can generate that sort of income. It's the same with running or any type of athletics or physical training plan. There's a cost, right? So you have to work out what you're willing to do. So basically how much time you're willing to put into training. So me, for example, my maximum peak week, which I have here, which again 3 weeks away from the race start line, I've got 100 kilometers or 62 miles a week. Now some people might not think that you'll be able to run a sub 2:35 marathon with this amount of mileage. You might think you have to do 80 miles, 70 miles, perhaps even 90 miles a week. I believe I can run sub 2:35 with running 62 miles a week. But the reason why I'm running 62 miles a week, now I work a 40-hour per week day job. In the gym 4 days a week, and I'm prepping all my foods. So I live by myself, I have to prep all my foods. And I want to keep a little bit of time for my social life as well. So this is what I'm willing to put in. So I'm accepted that I could be doing more. I've accepted that this is still a lot of work, but I could be doing more, but I'm happy with this amount of mileage. So the way I like to go in my training plans, an easy way for you to follow is a 10% rule. So what this means is you increase your weekly mileage by 10% maximum each week. That means that the probability would be in your favor, that you're not going to get injured because you're gradually increasing your weekly mileage, which should reduce the risk of injury. Now, you obviously can still get injured, but because I've been running for a long time, and obviously the more miles you do, 10% is more. So like if you're running 60 miles a week, then that's 66 miles, where if you're only running 10, then that's 11 miles next week. So it's quite drastic changes, obviously, the more mileage you do, and that 10% rule is a rule typically for someone more of a beginner standard. I'm doing 5% each week, so this is a 12-week training plan. I have been running before those 12 weeks, so this is really a specific 12-week training plan, but I wasn't really running with a specific goal in mind, or I didn't have a structured training plan, if you like. So the 12-week structured training plan. So I go at 5% each week. The way you work that out is whatever your maximum peak week. If you wanted to work backwards from that, so you can work out your weekly mileage going backwards, you just times that number by 0.95, or I'm pretty sure you could divide it by 1.05. Let me check. Actually, 100 times 0.95, divided by 1.05. Yeah. Moving on to the actual training plan. So typically, just to kind of go back from the start or the end of the week, so it makes more sense as to why I structure my weeks like this. So my long runs are on Saturday, the longest run of the week, and then Sunday is active recovery. So just bear that in mind. So basically Monday, my body should be quite fresh so I can start again. So Monday, I've got a 14 kilometer at an easy to moderate pace. So for me, that's kind of around 4 minutes 15 average kilometer to around 4 minutes 25, depending on how my body's feeling. At this point, my body will be quite beat up, so I have to bear that in mind. Obviously, these are the most intensive weeks before I start my taper. So 14 kilometer and easy to moderate pace, pretty self-explanatory. So just quickly going over the two types of running, you'll have, obviously this is kind of like a scale, but you'll have on one end aerobic running and you have on the other end anaerobic running. So anaerobic, more explosive exercises, so sprinting, powerlifting, exercises that require fast twitch muscle fibers, and you'll be burning glucose or glycogen, which is essentially carbohydrates. And the aerobic exercises, which is like walking or slower paced jogging, you'll be burning predominantly fats. So this is a slow run that I'm building my aerobic base, perfect for building up durability in my muscles, tendons and ligaments. And then Tuesday, I've got a tempo run. This is more towards the anaerobic side. So 12 kilometer, and then I'll do 2 kilometer warm up, 8 kilometer around race pace, and 2 kilometer cool down. So the reason why I do these tempo runs is you're actually getting better at running, you're getting faster because you're running at quite a fast pace relative to you. So I'm running at around 3 minutes 40 average kilometer because that is 2 hours 35 full marathon. So this is a pace that's actually quite hard for me to hold at the minute. But I'm just hoping that when my body is fresh and I've got the carbohydrates in my system from a carb load, that I have enough energy and stamina to be able to do this across the 26 miles or the 42 kilometers. So this run here is, again, just getting us familiar with the race pace. I like to wear the type of clothes, or the exact clothes rather, that I'm going to wear on race day, the type of shoes that I'm going to be wearing, or again, the exact shoes I'm going to be wearing. Ultimately, it just feeds that familiarity in my mind so that everything is a little bit more comfortable when I come to race. Again, getting used to the race pace, you're improving your anaerobic base. So I've done aerobic on Monday, anaerobic is Tuesday, but the things that you have to bear in mind is anaerobic workouts, because they're much more explosive, they require a lot more recovery on your body. So you have to kind of plan these or structure your weekly training plan. So you almost have like easy, hard throughout the week, so you don't have your hard training plans one after another. Again, you're like minimizing the risk of injury. Wednesday, another aerobic run, same type of pace as Monday, 12 kilometer this time. And then on Thursday, I'll do another anaerobic run. This is the most intense anaerobic run that I'll do. So this is basically just much faster pace that the tempo run was done. So the way that I do this, a 10 kilometer, 2,600 meter warm up. I know that's a random warm up time, but basically I just wanted to run 10 kilometers, and I've based the warm up and cool down around the distance that I'm actually going to be working out. So once I've warmed up, my body's fully, ready to kind of do these explosive workouts, because warming up is so important for these exercises or these sessions or workouts, if you like. So 6 by 800 meters, and I'll let my heart rate come down. So I'll have like 60 seconds rest, or if you have a heart rate monitor or a watch that assesses your heart rate, allow your heart rate to come down to around 120 beats per minute and then go again. It should be around 60 to perhaps 75 seconds is kind of what you're looking for. I prefer to go to the 60-second range just so I'm getting that harder working, if you like. So I'm not going to be running as quick if I did 60-second rest as I would do if I'd be doing 90-second rests. But the way you need to think about these workouts is, you imagine your heart is like a muscle. So if you're in the gym and you're bench pressing, you do it in sets, right? If you're strength training, say you're doing 5 sets of 5s on bench press, so you do your 5 reps and then you'll rest for anything from 4 to 8 minutes perhaps, and you'll go again. It allows your body time to recover, the oxygen can get back around your body, and then you go again. Same thing with these track intervals. So basically you're pushing your heart to the limits and then you're allowing it to recover and you go again. You can just get much more work in having these intervals or these sets than you would if you just did a 5k in relation to if you did 5 kilometers over the course of perhaps 400 meters with 60 seconds rest, for example. So that's my Thursday. Again, a really hard session. So on Friday I've got an active recovery. So you're bearing in mind I've had 2 easy to moderate workouts on Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday, Thursday I've had harder workouts on the anaerobic side, so more faster paced runs, and on a Friday I have a really easy run. Now this is just to allow my body time to recover. It's like active recovery because you recover faster by allowing your body to pump oxygen through your blood in the muscles targeted. So that lactic acid will, if you like, come in and out of your body much quicker if you can get some healthy blood flow without really being a too strenuous workout. So this is at a conversational pace. This simply means running at a pace of which I could hold a conversation at. If you're running with someone, you could have a chat with them, or perhaps even, I don't know, call someone on the phone as you're running. That's probably, I've never really done that, to be honest, but just making an example. But again, easy pace for me. This is kind of depending on how my body feels, around 4 minutes 30 to around 4 minutes 45 average kilometre. I'm not even looking at the pace on these runs though. Sometimes it might even be around 5 minutes. It really isn't important, and just going by how my body feels, doing really slow pace, again increasing my overall weekly mileage, but also it's helping my body recover by generating blood flow in the areas of which are most fatigued, and that oxygen will naturally push out the lactic acid and aid recovery in your body. So again, easy workout on Monday, hard workout Tuesday, easy Wednesday, hard Thursday, easy Friday, and then, if you like, probably the hardest workout of the week, but hard in a different way, is a 34 kilometer, which is around a 21.1 mile long run at an easy to moderate pace. However, I've got 2 kilometer strides at race pace with the last 2 kilometers. So basically this, again, improving my aerobic base, improving my durability in my muscles and my tendons and my ligaments. But also this I don't like to do with headphones because I like to get my mind used to, if you like, relying on intrinsic sources of motivation rather than relying on extrinsic sources of motivation, i.e. music. Perhaps you get a song on that motivates you. Because I'm not running on my race with headphones, because the BPM of a song can actually dictate the pace of which, or the rhythm that you want to run. So because I don't run with headphones on the race because it's distracting for me, or distracting in general for everyone really, if you're trying to look at getting the best time possible for you, I don't train with headphones. It's kind of like, again, the familiarity. I train how I'm gonna actually be doing the activity or exercise on race day or on whatever it is you're doing. I think it's really important to train your body and your mind how you want to actually perform. So no headphones on these, but 2 kilometer strides at race pace towards the end of the run. The reason being is I like to, again, familiarize myself, but ultimately get my body used to running at that faster pace whilst my legs are fatigued. So this is really good. It's very difficult, these runs, but what I find, the longest run of your training is a lot harder than the actual race, because you have the adrenaline on race day, you have the carb load, your body isn't fatigued. You know, ideally your body should be really fresh when you come to a race on a marathon. again, the crowd is boosting you up, and that natural competitiveness, you're running around other people, all the factors are in your favour to being able to produce a better time on race day than you would if you're just by yourself, because you can kind of get in your ego a little bit. That competitive nature will come up where it's difficult to motivate yourself, I find, if no one's looking at you, because you know that, you know, you don't need to prove yourself to yourself, but sometimes it's quite nice to prove yourself to other people. And that's why typically I think having that crowd will help you get the most out of your run. I'll supplement a little bit, so on these long runs I'll trial out my supplementation just to make sure, again, I'm familiar with the supplements that I'm going to be consuming, i.e. energy gels, carbohydrates on race day, type of drinks I want to get my body used to, so everything again feels familiar as possible. And then after Saturday, the long run, again the idea, there's some more active recovery, 8 kilometre at a conversational pace. This will be the slowest run of the week, mainly to get my body ready for the next session on the Monday or the day after, but also just to kind of allow my body time to recover. And these Sundays is kind of like a slow paced day for me. I don't like doing my long runs as the last day of the week. Me personally, most marathon training plans will have the long run on a Sunday, because you're going to be racing on the Sunday, but also they like to have the long runs and then Monday's rest. But I find my body recovers so much better if I were to have my rest day on Monday, because if I did my long run Saturday and then the next day I do a little bit of active recovery, the Monday will be my rest day, but also that active recovery just, I find, speedens up the recovery process so much better. So how exactly I'm going to conduct this training plan? I work a full 40-hour per week day job, so 5 days a week. I'm going to put my training or schedule it around my work life, because unfortunately that's fixed. I don't have flexible hours. So my actual routine, again, so get up, have some water, do a dynamic warm-up, so I don't do any static stretches. I'll run, I'll come home, go to work, and then before I do weights in the gym, I'll roll out this so my muscles feel a little bit looser. I'll stretch, and then I'll power lift. I find being a little bit looser before I deadlift or squat, for example, just hugely benefits my lifts. I enjoy doing that. It gets my body and mind kind of firing together, so I know I'm going to get the best out of my strength workouts. And then after I do that, I'll go in a cold shower, so essentially it'd be like a cold plunge. If you have one of those, that would be preferably what I would use, but in my gym we just have cold showers. Then I'll go in the sauna and then back in a cold shower again, and then when I get home I have a Theragun. I'll do a little bit of massaging on that just to aid recovery, and that's it really. That's how I'm going to be doing this training plan. I thought I'd explain that briefly, but that's the end of the video, end of part 1. Like, comment, subscribe, see you next week.